Good morning, everyone. Happy New Year, and welcome to our first meeting of the year here, January 6, 2026, for the Board of Supervisors meeting here. Wanted to start off first with a moment of silence, and I'm going to read this first one off and then give it to my colleagues for a couple others. And we have one for Congressman Doug LaMalfa. Douglas Lee LaMalfa was born on July 2nd, 1960 in Oroville, California. He was a fourth-generation rice farmer and lifelong resident of Northern California, deeply connected to agriculture and rural communities. LaMalfa earned a bachelor's degree in agricultural business from California Polytechnic State University, San Luis Obispo. He was married to his wife, Jill, and they had 4 children. LaMalfa served in the California State Assembly from 2002 to 2008 and California State Senate from 2010 to 2012. Before being elected to Congress, he was elected as a U.S. Representative for California's 1st Congressional District in 2012 and served continuously in the U.S. House of Representatives from 2013 until his death in 2026. LaMalfa was known for advocating agriculture, water resources, forestry, and rural community issues on behalf of his constituents. LaMalfa was serving his 7th term in Congress and was a member of key House committees including Agriculture, Natural Resources, and Transportation and Infrastructure. He passed away on January 6, 2026 at age 65. His colleagues remembered him as a principled, conservative, and dedicated advocate for rural America. All right. I don't know who had another one.
No, this was his.
Same one? Okay. Go ahead.
I have 2. The first is Lloyd Stotsberry. Lloyd Stotsberry passed away December 9th, 2025. He was 83 years old. He was preceded in death by his wife of 62 years, Carol Stotsberry. Lloyd was born in Flagstaff, Arizona. He joined the United States Marine Corps on July 29, 1959 in Phoenix, Arizona. He underwent recruit training in San Diego, California. His colorful career includes attending several Marine Corps schools. Among them were the Communications Technicians School in Pensacola, the ANTSC 15 course at Camp Lejeune, the Basic Electricians course, the TPTT Technicians course, and the Digital Log course. Master Sergeant Stotsberry was a Vietnam veteran, having served with the Communications Battalion while in Vietnam as a cryptologist. His last tour with the Marine Corps, he was Chief Recruiting Officer in Northern California. His service decorations include the Navy Achievement Medal with Combat V, the Combat Action Ribbon, the Meritorious Unit Citation, and the Good Conduct Medal with 1 Silver Star. While being a recruiter, he was a Concord Reserve police officer and also worked in the Concord jail. It was during this time he earned an associate's degree in criminal justice. After retirement from the U.S. Marine Corps, Lloyd got a job with PG&E as a power plant operator in Pittsburgh, California, and in 1982, Lloyd transferred with PG&E to the Geysers power plant, moving his family and relocating to Cobb Mountain, California, where he eventually retired after 20 years as a senior power plant operator. During this time, he was a volunteer firefighter with South Lake County Fire Department. After retirement from PG&E, he became a member of the Lake County Honor Guard team, comprised of all branches of the military services, which he was very proud of. Lloyd kept himself very busy with numerous ventures, such as starting a water trucking company known as Stotsberry Trucking and having his youngest son, Keith, drive with him. They worked with CAL FIRE. Other interests were sturgeon fishing, RVing across the country with his wife Carol, and stopping at either Reno or Las Vegas to play the slot machines. Most of all, he enjoyed camping with his family and friends, especially Bill and Debbie Burnett. And the Stotsberry family is such an important part of the Cobb community, so he is really, truly going to be missed. And the other I have is John Alderman. John Robert Alderman joined his heavenly family on December 20th, 2025, after fighting complications of heart disease and diabetes. He was a pizza aficionado from his Straw Hat Pizza days in Santa Rosa, where his parents had had their business. His wife sometimes called him Fred Flintstone because he worked in the Sire Batch plant on Todd Road in Santa Rosa for many years and was a proud member of the Operating Engineers Union Local 3. He took care of his Chevy sedan delivery and his 96 Harley Davidson, and he enjoyed listening to his iTunes, and Las Vegas was his favorite destination in his RV. If you needed help with a project, he was more than happy to help in any way he could. He spent many summers at the Skylark Shores Resort, partying with the McGovern and Gaskin families before moving to Lake County in 2004. And John is survived by his wife of 34 years, Denise, his son Ryan, and his wife Allison, and grandchildren. He will miss hanging out with his cousins, Kathy and Ginger and Jennifer, and all of their families. The celebration of life will be held at the Chapel of Lakes on January 10th at 11 a.m.
And my first is Kenneth L. Scott, Sr. Ken Scott, a Lakeport resident, died on Christmas Eve. Ken served in the United States Army from 1973 to 1975 and was a mechanic. He trained other mechanics and carried his affinity for fixing things into his civilian life. Locally, within the past few years, Ken was honored as Lake County Veteran of the Year. He served in local organizations, including being a member of the Lakeport Elks Lodge, Vet Connect, Hospice, the Lake County Funeral Honors Team, the Joy Maderas Veterans Museum, the Vietnam Veterans of America Chapter 951, and We Serve Veterans. My next is Clifford Hugh Madison. Cliff passed away in December at his home peacefully at the age of 94 years. He was an avid hunter and outdoorsman and enjoyed spending time out on the range, camping and hunting with friends. After graduating from Upper Lake High School, Cliff was drafted into the United States Army during the Korean War. He spent 2 years on the East Coast where he was assigned to a missile unit. Cliff loved telling stories about all he did and saw during his time in the military. Following his military service, Cliff went on to college at Chico State, where he earned a degree in biology before returning to Lake County and then working for Lake County Mosquito Abatement for 35 years. Retirement suited Cliff well, and he spent the past 30-plus years spending time with grandkids and friends and telling stories. My next is Kent Woldridge, who died this past late November. He was born in Lakeport and was the first son of Joe and Gertrude Woldridge. He served in the U.S. Army during the Vietnam War. He then returned home and went to UC Davis for his teaching credential, and then returned to Lake County to serve the communities of Lakeport and Upper Lake as an educator, basketball coach, counselor, and advocate for students. He was also an accomplished pianist for local churches. And my last is Terry and Nan Cote. They both died this past year, several months apart in 2025. They met in the Bay Area and married in 1971. They had a son and a daughter and moved to Lakeport in 1982. Terry worked at the Geysers as a hazardous materials specialist in construction. Nan worked for the Lakeport Unified School District, serving students for 27 years. Thank you.
All right. Rick Mayo, can you lead us in the pledge, please? All right. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right. All right. We're going to go to our 6.1 and conduct, let me just read it off. That way we can go from there. Our 6.1 is an election of Chair of the Board of Supervisors and Vice Chair of the Board of Supervisors 2026. And the outgoing chair conducts this election, so I'll open this up. As you know, every year at the beginning of the year, we switch positions and usually goes by district. And I think we're in back on track because it used to, I think one of our previous supervisors decided not to, and so we had to skip around and all that other stuff. So here we are. Go ahead, and if you'd like to start, Supervisor Pyska.
Yeah, I'd like to nominate Supervisor Rasmussen for chair.
I'd like to second that.
So I have a motion and a second, but I'm going to have to open it up for the public first and foremost. So I'll go ahead if there's anyone that has any comment on this from the chambers or anyone on Zoom. All right, I'll bring it back to the board, and we'll restate that motion in second. Do I have to restate it, or we're okay with taking that same one?
As long as, thank you, Mr. Chair. As long as there's an acknowledgement that that was the motion.
Okay.
As so moved.
So, all right, I have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion carries 5-0. And then, go ahead, Supervisor Sabatier.
Mr. Chair, move to nominate Supervisor Pyska as the vice chair.
Second?
I have a motion and a second, but what I'm first going to do again is open it up to the public in case there's anybody that would like to comment on this. All right, no hands either way, so we'll bring it back to the board, and motion stands. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? And that motion carries. And so we now have a new chair and vice chair. And I would have to give it over, right? Yes, we move over. Yeah. And I think we're just going to switch seats, right?
Just switch seats.
Yep. All right.
And thank you, Supervisor Crandall, for chairing 2025.
All right. You're welcome.
Yes, thank you.
Never a dull moment.
No.
No, can help you?
Yeah. I'll get this over here.
Sorry, I got too much stuff.
So
That's okay, I'll come back with some of yours.
I can move yours there too, Brad, if you'd like.
If you're gonna grab his computer, I'll grab his screens.
Yeah.
Thank you.
That.
Thank you.
And your mouse.
I think that's it, right?
I think I might have something in the drawer. Let me check. Yep, there it is. All right. We're good to go. Oh. Oh, we got it. All right. We did it. Co-host.
Guess another picture. All right, so we can move on to our item 6.2, which is sitting as the Lake County Board of Equalization, election of chair and vice chair of the Lake County Board of Equalization for 2026. And do we have any comments before we open it up to the public? Is there anybody in the public that wishes to comment? Anybody online? No hands, bring it back to the board.
Make a motion to have Chair Rasmussen and Vice Chair Pyska as the chair and vice chair for the Lake County Board of Equalization.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries 5-0.
All right.
Moving on to item 6.3, setting as the Lake County In-Home Supportive Services, election of chair and vice chair of the Lake County In-Home Supportive Services Public Authority Board of Directors for 2026. Any comments before I open to the public? Anybody in the room that wishes to comment on this item? Anybody online, Johanna? No hands, bring it back to the board. And Supervisor Sabatier?
Mr. Chair, I move to appoint or elect Chair Rasmussen and Vice Chair Pyska to the Chair and Vice Chair of the Lake County In-Home Supportive Services.
I'll second that.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries 5-0. And next, we're going to move on to our 904 item, which is administer the oath of office to Thomas Beamer as Chief Public Defender. If you want to come forward, sir. And our Chief Administrative Officer, Susan Parker, will administer the oath.
Stand right over here to do the consent agenda. Get my glasses on. Ready? Raise your right hand, please. I state your name.
I, Thomas Feimer,
Do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States
that I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of California
and the Constitution of the State of California
against all enemies, foreign and domestic,
against all enemies, foreign and domestic,
that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the Constitution of the United States
that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the Constitution of the United States,
and that I take this obligation freely without mental reservation or purpose of evasion,
and that I take this obligation freely without
Mental reservation.
mental reservation,
mental reservation or purpose of evasion,
and that I will well and faithfully discharge the duties
and that I will well and faithfully discharge the duties
of the Chief Public Defender
of the Chief Public Defender
in and for the County of Lake upon which I'm about to enter.
in and for the County of Lake upon which I am about to enter.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Congratulations.
We need a picture.
We're going to get a picture with our new Chief Public Defender.
Yes.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Chairman. Thank you.
You get us all, you get us all, Trevor?
Yep. 1, 2, 3. Perfect. That's your place. Thank you.
Yeah.
I appreciate that. Yes, please, everybody.
Do we have any member of the public that wishes to speak on this item? Nothing in the room, nothing online. We'll go ahead and close this item.
No, I did.
What was our board members?
Yeah. I just wanted to give a huge shout out to our Public Works and Special Districts crews and everybody else who was out working in the storms the last couple of weeks. We got hit really hard, and I know a lot of our staff had to work a lot of overtime, and the constituents and the residents, and I am personally very grateful for all of that work.
Thank you. Anyone online, Johanna? Okay, we'll move on to our, officially move on to our 6.5 item public input. And this is for any matter not on the agenda. If we have members of the public that wish to speak on anything not appearing on our agenda, come forward, state your name, and you'll have 3 minutes. And it looks like we have somebody in the room.
Good morning, Board. Thank you. My name is Angela De Palma Dow. I'm the Executive Director of Lake County Land Trust, and I'm making a public comment just to let the public and the Board know that this Sunday at 2 p.m. at Soper Theater, we will be doing a matinee showing of the Clear Lake Science documentary, Hobbiton, Big Lake, Big Science. As you know, Sam Houston put together this movie for the Clear Lake Science Integrated Science Symposium, the first draft in 2024. and it has since been redone. It's the director's cut. It's very, very good. So we wanted to make sure we let everybody know that it'll be showing again during the day. It's about 2 hours or so, a little over, but it is explore a lot of the collaborations that are happening on Clear Lake for scientific research, a lot of the management, a lot of the agencies and partners from state, federal, local, tribal that are working together to improve Clear Lake for future generations. So I just want to make sure that was on the board's radar and the public's aware of that. If there's any questions, you can call us at the Land Trust. You can visit the website at Soper Reese. It is free, but last time we did sell out. So we filled all the seats. We actually did turn away about 30 people. So I suggest that folks go onto Soper Reese website and register. And they do accept donations. It is a free event to attend, but donations go to the Soper Reese Theater here in Lakeport on Main Street. I think that's it. And thank you, Sam Houston, for putting the movie together.
Thank you.
And thank you for your part in it.
Do we have anybody else in the room? Seeing none. Anybody online, Joanna? Online,
Sam, can you make me co-host? I'm not co-host.
what was the name, Johanna?
Okay. iPhone XR.
iPhone XR, you'll have 3 minutes for public comment.
Skylar Lewell, Pillsbury Family Farms. A new year is not just a reset for departments. It is a reset for those elected to govern. Moments like this are reminders of why the public placed you in those seats in the first place. County government isn't here to be comfortable. It is here to be responsible and to ensure that government power, once granted, is not mistaken for immunity. Department heads may manage operations, but this board holds the responsibility. Oversight is not symbolic. It is not optional. It is the duty that comes with your authority. Leadership sets culture, and culture determines whether accountability is embraced, avoided, and whether transparency is proactive or forced, and whether the public is treated as a partner or inconvenience. These are choices. Public service also requires humility. Every supervisor represents the entire county and not just the lines on a district map. Constituents deserve to be treated with respect and seriousness regardless of where they live, who they voted for, or how inconvenient their concerns may be. The public does not expect perfection, but the public does expect honesty, discipline, and integrity from those entrusted with public resources and with public power. And when standards fall, it's the people that feel it first, not just in the department, but in your government as a whole. And at the start of this new year, this is a reminder. You answer to the people, not the other way around. Authority comes with obligation. Oversight is your job. Accountability is not an attack. It is the foundation of public trust. Muleha.
Thank you. No more hands. We'll go ahead and close public comment and move on to our 906 item, Pet of the Week.
Good morning, everyone. This is Charlie. He's about 1 year old. He was dropped off at the shelter over the counter. He's very good with other dogs, and he's just a big couch potato and loves attention. And he is available. You like to see Charlie? We haven't tested with cats. He's good with other dogs.
I have enough.
Oh, too bad Stephen already got a puppy.
Well, he's available at the shelters. If you'd like to stop by, or if you already have canines, you can stop by and we can do a behavior test and get along with your canine, and you can go from there. But
Thank you for coming in today.
Good luck, Charlie.
We're going to jump back to our item number 4. Do we have any extra items
No extra items, Chair.
There are no extra items, then we'll move on. Any further comment from the public on that item? No hands. We'll move on to our approval of consent agenda. And I do believe that item 5.8 is going to be pulled for discussion for later on in the meeting. Do we have supervisors that wish to pull any items from consent? Hearing none, I'd be ready for a motion. What was that? We have public.
Yeah. I move that we approve the consent agenda.
Hang on, was there anything further with that, Johanna? Rachel,
Hi.
Director Parsons, I'm sorry.
Item 5.8, we just need to pull completely from the agenda. The attachments were misposted in a way that the public couldn't open them, so we'll need to bring it to a future agenda for discussion.
Okay, so 5.8 will be completely pulled and come back at a later date.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you. And we have a motion on the floor.
That we accept the consent agenda with the exception of 5.8.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries 5-0. Now, I believe we're going to go back to 6.7, our timed item, which is presentation of proclamation designating the month of January 2026 as Human Trafficking Awareness Month in Lake County. And I'll go ahead and come down and read this. If there's anyone here for this, you're welcome to come up on the stage.
Just a few.
Yes.
Yeah, Mark and
please.
April, come up.
I already
Yeah,
have my
thank you.
coffee cup holder.
Thank you. Oh, my goodness, yes. And I will be putting it on.
Thank you.
All right.
I got one for you.
Thank you.
Looks like everybody's here. This is a proclamation designating the month of January 2026 as Human Trafficking Awareness Month in Lake County. Whereas human trafficking is a serious crime that affects people of all races, age, and gender. And whereas human trafficking is a borderless crime against individuals that violates the most basic human rights and deprives victims of human dignity and denies freedom to 32 million people around the world. And whereas human trafficking is the fastest growing criminal industry globally, and whereas California ranks first among the states in the number of potential reports of human trafficking, and whereas a serious form of human trafficking involves the exploration of children and youth for commercial sex acts, it is imperative that our young people and their families learn how to recognize risks and resist predators who use coercion and threats to manipulate children and young adults into sex and labor trafficking. And whereas Lake Family Resource Center is instrumental in leading the way in Lake County in addressing human trafficking by providing 24-hour hotline services and continuing support, advocacy, and accompaniment to survivors. And whereas preventing human trafficking in Lake County must include active public and private efforts to help recognize and acknowledge existence, and it is time to start conversations, take appropriate action, and support one another to create safer environment for all residents. And whereas many organizations such as the District Attorney's Office, Sheriff's Office, Lakeport Police Department, Clear Lake Police Department, our 7 local Pomo tribes, and Lake Family Resource Center are committed to ending human trafficking in Lake County and provide essential crisis intervention and prevention services to all members of the community. Now, therefore, be it proclaimed that the month of January 2026 is designated as Human Trafficking Awareness Month in Lake County, and our community is urged to support the efforts of the agencies assisting victims of human trafficking and urges all local governments, schools, businesses, community members, and others to be aware and report suspicious activity to local law enforcement agencies and help shine the light on human trafficking. This was passed and adopted the 6th day of January, 2026, and signed by our 2025 Chair, E.J. Crandall. Thank you. Yeah, I wanted to say a couple things before I turn it over to her. In my previous career, I worked alongside all these law enforcement agencies, Lake Family Resource Center, to be proactive in trying to get the word out. And they've done a phenomenal job in the past few years with providing training to law enforcement. And now we've got our local Rotary clubs that are this month going to be doing presentations in the schools. And lastly, I'll say, you know, I'm personally aware this is a real thing. I was personally involved in multiple investigations where I had young juveniles who were contacted online and convinced to be willing to get picked up here in Lake County. Sex traffickers, human traffickers came here from other areas. A couple cases I remember from Sacramento, the Central Valley, the Bay Area, and picked up these victims and took them down where they were delivered to basically sex traffickers. So it happens, and we need to continue to be aware of that. With that, I'll turn it over.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Jessica Layton. I am one of the human trafficking advocates with Lake Family Resource Center. I want to thank you all for coming together today to mark the proclamation of Human Trafficking Awareness Month. This month is a time to reflect on the devastating effects of human trafficking and a reminder that human trafficking affects millions of people around the globe and right here in our own communities. It impacts people of all ages, genders, and backgrounds. Human trafficking is not just a statistic or a headline. It is modern-day slavery. It is people being exploited and robbed of their basic human rights, but we are not powerless against this injustice. Awareness leads to action. Each of us can make a difference in small but meaningful ways by learning the signs of trafficking, supporting organizations that help survivors rebuild their lives, being vigilant in our community, and speaking up when something doesn't seem right. Together, we can be the voice for those who have been silenced and the hope for those waiting to be free. Thank you.
Anybody else from the group wish to make comment?
Hi, everybody. My name is Kara Roberts, and I'm the coordinator of the Human Trafficking Program. I want to thank the Board of Supervisors for, again, continuing to support us each and every year. So I just wanted to hit you with some factual things so you kind of know what's going on with human trafficking here. So we have had this program in place for about 6 years now. We're in the process of writing for another grant, which will continue for another 3 years. During our time, we've trained well over 500 professionals and community members here in the county, including local police department, sheriff's department, highway patrol, fish and game, and am I forgetting anybody? District attorneys. We've been trying to get out there, you guys, for the past 6 years. So during that time, we've served over 150. It's hard to keep count on how many there is. I'd have to go back. Each day it changes, the number grows. But 150 different people in the county for various different trafficking situations. So for those 150 plus people, we've offered over 10,000 services over the last 6 years. And those vary as well. We have a lot of different options and services available to people. There's scenarios that pop up that you wouldn't even imagine that you need to figure out a way through. Some things that we're highlighting this month, we are doing magnets on our local law enforcement's patrol cars. They support us every year. We have coffee sleeves that we've distributed throughout the county. Just this morning, this gentleman out here with Mixed Lakeport here in the lobby of the courthouse has agreed to start using our coffee sleeves for the month of January to bring awareness. We're working with Sisters in Clear Lake, Studebakers in Kelseyville, and Jitterbean in Lakeport. We've also, as Brad mentioned, had some involvement with Rotary this year that's been very exciting. So one of our projects is that we've developed a sticker and had participation from different motels all across the county that we're going to be putting this sticker in their motel rooms, on their mirrors in their bathrooms, because that is one of the most vulnerable places that people are being trafficked. So they'll have that local resource there available to see. Another one is, and Mark is going to talk to you more about it, but working with Polyclass and Rotary, and we'll be doing booths at different events they're doing this month. So that's kind of stuff that we're highlighting. We do have a banner up. We're constantly getting out there, and we just want to thank the community for your participation and support. Thank you.
Anybody further? Yeah, sure.
Okay, thank you. I'm Mark Lips, and area governor for Lake County Rotary Clubs. And we have Michael Contos, who is president of the Kelseyville Rotary Club, and April Leiferman, who is Lakeport Rotary Club. Zabdi is not here. She's still basking in the glow of her Record B article. Kara has mentioned Lake Family Resources, all the involvement we've had, but you know what? How many people have actually heard or seen newspaper articles or anything local about human trafficking? Very rare, because the mission of Brad when he was chief, the mission of many of law enforcement, judges and all that, is to protect the victim. So it doesn't rise to the surface and become a priority like it could be if people knew the stories. When we've been involved in this for the last year, I can't tell you the horrendous stories that we've heard. And it would just chill you, but it's not out there because we have to protect the victim. So you have to think defense, education, and that's part of our reason for doing these presentations all around the school. The first one is here this Thursday, Lakeport, Kelseyville. And right now we're sliding, which rarely happens, but we're going to be probably over 100 people at this, parents, hopefully all parents at this presentation, and kids. We've also put together a pilot program with the kids to train the middle schoolers. And in success, we'll move on to the other districts to talk about that. And Lake Family Resources will be a central part of all of that, because they are the boots on the ground. They are the ones that are here. So if you can share the word that these presentations are open to anybody. If you're a Kelseyville parent or Kelseyville resident and you can't make the Kelseyville Lakeport presentation, go to another one. We're going to be all towards the end of the month. We'll be all around the lake. And if it's not incentive enough, come for the door prizes, because it's really, really great door prizes. And I got to thank April Leiferman and Michael Contos for being just this great team to make this thing happen at this county. And also, I know I'm always long-winded, Kara. Sorry. Huge thanks to EJ, Supervisor Crandall, and Supervisor Pyska for donating, because we've tried not to go after traditional funds that other Rotary clubs need to use for their own service projects. So we've gone after non-traditional, and you guys stepped up immediately and donated towards this serious issue that's kind of kept under wraps, and really appreciate it. So you guys, you saw the need and you jumped in. And EJ, I've met with the tribes, and they are hopefully going to be involved. And some of those stories you've heard, one of them was from Supervisor Pyska herself. So, not that she was trafficked, but I mean, she had a 1 degree of separation. So anyway, thank you guys, and thank you, Kara. You are wonderful. Your staff is brilliant, and much appreciated. Thank you.
Can I say something for a second? So I'm April Leiferman, and I'm kind of the liaison between the Rotary clubs and the schools. I'm a 40-year administrator here in Lake County. And I also want to thank Brad Rasmussen. We really needed information and statistics about what's happening here on the ground. When we talk to parents and kids, they don't often understand the profound danger that they're in. And so Brad can just rattle off situations, and that is helping our presentation. And one of the things that we learned from Poly class is, who do the middle schools who are most vulnerable, those kids listen to? They listen to high school kids. They think us adults are a little out of touch or kind of tired of listening to us. You know, we don't really know what's going on. So yesterday, Mark and Michael and I were in the training with a Poly class trainer with 5 amazing high school seniors. And just the training and the excitement and the knowledge that these students will bring to all of these evening presentations is really going to affect our middle school kids. So thank you again.
Thank you. I turn it over to board members for comments. Go ahead, Supervisor Pyska's first.
Yeah, I really want to show my appreciation to all of you. We've had a lot of conversations over the last year and building up everything that's rolling out this month, and it's taken a lot of your hard work and time, and it's so needed and it's so important. As Mark mentioned, one of my very close family members in the early days of social media was targeted here in Lake County, and luckily they understood that things were not right, that they were being targeted by somebody online, and called my sister, and my sister called the sheriff, and the sheriff did a sting operation, and they were able to put an end to that immediately without anyone getting hurt. But it was very obvious when that person was located and when their car was located what their intentions were. And so this is something that you often don't know how close it hits you because nobody talks about it. And for the very good reasons that Mark brought up, but it is something that we need to talk about and bring into the light because it is happening here. This is something that is prevalent in our communities. And so thank you all for standing up to this and broadening the network, because that's really what we have to do to keep our community safe.
Any other supervisors?
I want to applaud all of you as well for what you're doing. It's vitally important. Human trafficking is slavery. It is savage, and it is a crime against humanity. Defeating human trafficking is probably the greatest moral calling of our time. And I love the idea of the stickers in the bathrooms at the hotels and motels. I think that was brilliant because that is where a lot of them are going to be. They're going to see where they can get help. So kudos to whoever thought of that. That was awesome. Thank you for what you do.
Supervisor Sabatier?
Yeah, I want to thank Lake Family Resource Center. It's been at least 12, 14 years since I know you've been working on this as far as your advocacy for the victims. My first recollection was when you put together a movie at Supervisors where a young female approached, forget her name at the time, it was before Lisa Morrow, but approached the Lake Family Resource team and said, I think I'm being trafficked. And the district attorney was there at the time, and it ended up being a case. So some people don't even recognize what is happening to them. And it's just unfortunate, the world that we live in, there is more slaves today than there were when slavery was legal. And it's just a sad fact of the world that we live in. And that's how desperate people are to try to get out of the situations that they're in, or to get the make-believe life that they think they're going to receive. I don't know. But it's just a sad state of affairs. So thank you for the long-term efforts that Lake Family Resource has been having. I know I tried inviting you guys to a state conference. It didn't work out. But to me, your work should be highlighted because you do great work. I'm really happy to see Rotary joining in. I think it just multiplies the voices and the efforts that are happening. Because the more we all know, whether it's parents or children, the more we can be aware of the signs. Because I've literally sat next to somebody who's been arrested for sexually trafficking people. I was absolutely not aware in my college class that that person was involved in doing those things. You just don't know. And it happens. Based on the meetings that I've been at the state, Sacramento is the #1 hotspot in America. So we are living next to the #1 hotspot, which creates the danger that we have in our community. So don't think these things don't happen in your community. They are happening. Be aware, learn, take part in what's available in the community, and be safe. So thank you all for what you're doing.
Thank you. Chair or Supervisor Crandall?
Yes, just wanted to expound on some of this. I wanted to emphasize on the actual, the work aspect of this when it comes to people that come from different countries. I know that there was some folks in my district that were brought over from India, and their green cards or their visas were taken away from them until they can complete what they needed to. And then not to mention, folks that come up here and work in the farms, or the cannabis farms as well, and they're brought up here to do the work. They have nowhere to go, nowhere to stay, and there's that aspect of it. So, at times it seems as if there may be some real legit housing going on or something like that, but at the same time, when you look at the conditions, as you can see, we had a project here that we had to look at where people were living in below standard conditions, and that's human trafficking. So I just wanted to mention that, that you all are doing the good work to make sure this doesn't happen in our communities. Hopefully we can get a grasp on it and make sure it doesn't continue on, but continue doing the work. Thank you.
Thank you, Board. I think we'll get a picture before I open it to general public. What was that?
Can I mention something real quick?
Real quick.
It'll be real quick. I learned this from Kara, actually. And what we don't want, those of you in the public online, we don't want you to think that Lake County is the human trafficking capital of the world. It's not. This is a California issue, which they went from #3 to #1. And so I know it sounds like, oh, we're the hot spot. We're not. But this is our county, this is our backyard, this is something we need to take care of. So, right. We check the boxes. So.
We also want to learn from Polly Klaus, but we know we can sustain this with all the different agencies that we've been working with. So we're going to glean from them what we know, really work with high school students to talk to middle school students, and work with all our agencies to continue this and sustain the program.
Thank you. I think we can get a picture, and then I'll open it to the general public.
Yeah, we need boots on the ground up here.
I'm short. Thank you.
Thank you, everybody. I wish I had a cough drop for you.
I was doing so
Nothing
well.
for you.
I was like thinking of myself.
I almost offered you my coffee, but that wasn't going to help.
She was like, I have water in my purse. I was like, my coffee's over there.
Hope you feel better.
Thank you. So I know Conway really reached out.
Do we have anybody in the room that wishes to speak on this item? Seeing nobody in the, I'm sorry, Margot, you'll have 3 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Margot Kambara. I'd like to thank Lake Family Resource Center, Rotary, and the Lake County education community for taking up this important issue and bringing resources to the county so we are more aware of the dangers that our youth face. I have a question and a suggestion concerning the January program that the Polly Klaus sponsored by the Polly Klaus Foundation, and that is the question is the program going to be recorded? And if it is not, I suggest that it is recorded so it can be a future resource for parents who can attend or youth of appropriate age who can attend this program. And then perhaps arrangements can be made with PEG TV to record the session. Thank you.
Thank you.
So part of our grant was sustainability. And so the presentation in Kelseyville is going to be recorded. There is a presentation at the other high schools too. But the pilot program in Kelseyville is where the Polly Klaus Foundation trained the high school kids. And like I said, the three amigos and I were actually there. We think we can work with Lake Family Resource and replicate this. But then the high school students are going to come and talk to the middle school students. And that's where I was talking a little bit earlier, that the middle school students have some boundary issues in the fact that they think that parents are overprotective, adults are overprotective. That's not going to really happen to them. The worst thing that could happen to them is their parent finds out, and that if their parent finds out, they can solve any problem. They just aren't at the emotional development to really understand how serious and how the dangers are out there. But who do they listen to? They think the high school kids are pretty cool. They know that they know about social media. They go to their football games, et cetera, et cetera. And so that's the whole point when Polly Klaus gave her presentation to Rotary. Being in education for 40 years, I knew that's exactly who those kids will listen to more deeply. And also parents, to be honest with you, whether it be vaping, whether it be social media dangers, they just aren't quite aware. So this program, when we do the presentations, those 5 high school students will give parts of the presentation, and they will also go to the other schools. In Kelseyville, they have 2 assemblies that they're going to come to the middle school to talk to the kids, and that is also going to be filmed for the other middle schools to use. So then we're going to work with Lake Family Resource and other agencies, and hopefully we have the sustainability and the talent to continue this going forward.
Thank you. Seeing no one else in the room, we'll move on to online. And we have Betsy Kahn. Betsy, go ahead. You'll have 3 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Betsy Kahn from Upper Lake. I just want to remind everybody that in the last couple of years, maybe 3 years, the grand jury did a report on human trafficking in the county. And they described the county as very popular with those human traffickers who like to bring their trafficked persons to Lake County because it's so easy to hide them here and then transport them to the metropolitan areas where their services are sold. It's pretty chilling, and I really recommend everybody read it. Thank you.
Thank you, Betsy. Anyone else online? Seeing no more hands, we'll go ahead and close this item. And at this point, we're going to move on to item 7.2 before we jump back to a 10 a.m. timed item. This item 7.2 is consideration of chairman's recommended 2026 committee assignments for members of the Board of Supervisors. And we have our Carolyn Purdy here with this item. She is passing out an updated list. And so I guess first, see if any board members have comments or if they're asking for any changes at this point. We'll go ahead and start with Supervisor Sabatier.
Thank you. So I was a little surprised, and I'm guessing it's just from all the conversations that we've had, and I appreciate that it's acknowledged. There is a Redbud Fire Safe Council, but I don't feel that it needs to be on an appointed Board of Supervisors list of committees. The reason that Supervisor Owen and myself are involved in it is just to make sure it gets started. The idea is eventually to pass it off to community members who are adamant about fire safety and helping to move things forward in projects to mitigate fires in the community. But I don't know that it needs to be a mandatory Board of Supervisor committee that we put on our assignments.
Any further comment on that from anyone? I wasn't really aware of that. I don't have a problem with it not being a committee. I don't know how the rest of the board feels.
I concur with what Supervisor Sabatier just had mentioned. We're both, of course, on it because we're getting it going. But however, there may be other people that want to jump in after we get it going, and to put it as a dedicated requirement, I don't know that that's necessary.
Supervisor Pyska, did you have a comment?
I did, and it doesn't really matter one way or the other to me, but how the Lake County Fire Safe Council is, I'm not a member of it, but it's my assignment to attend so that we know what's going on, so that there's some county input received during their roundtables. That's how it functions there. So if that's helpful, but it's up to you.
I'm assuming it's not a Brown Act committee. That would be my only question.
We will be following the Brown Act just to make sure that agendas are put out in a timely way. It's a public meeting. It's a good process to follow to make it appropriate and predictable for anyone who wants to be involved. And I think that it's important that we have a board member on the Lake County Fire Safe Council because we want to keep the finger on the pulse. But there's not the Canocti Fire Safe Council either on this list because, again, it needs to exist because there's a purpose, but it's not necessarily the Board of Supervisors that needs to be assigned to that specifically rather than a board member keeping track of what's going on within their community whenever they have the time to.
Any information from county council on, do you have any concerns about it not being a formal committee on our list?
So your board can, for purposes of this agenda item, your board can make amendments to it. So sounds like one of the proposed amendments would be to just, it's either could be construed as either removing the membership of the two board members from that fire safe council. That's one proposal. It sounds like the other proposal in the alternative would be to just remove this fire safe council from the list of committees that's in this document. So your board may want to gain clarification from that as to what's being proposed.
You want to clarify, Supervisor Sabatier?
The latter. This was not created by the Board of Supervisors. This started off with a first meeting of the Red Bud Fire Safe Council, and so to me, it just doesn't belong on the list.
Okay.
And I have others as well, such as Hidden Valley has a fire safe, and I do try to go to their meetings, but it's not assigned to me.
Okay, so do we have consensus to remove that one?
That's fine.
Yeah, that's fine. So that'll be removed. Do you further, Supervisor Sabatier?
Yeah, just an additional, I see that we do have 2 vacancies, and one of them is not up for negotiations. It's one of the perks of being the chair of the board. Those who have been there are in agreement. The Law Library Board of Trustees, that vacancy should be to Chair Rasmussen, but just kind of wanting to open up the dialogue for the Lake County Maternal and Child and Adolescent Health that is vacant as well currently.
Yes, I was going to mention that one. So I understood that was going to happen with the Law Library. So with the maternal child and adolescent health, it's been determined that the board in 2024 did update bylaws for that, and that part of that was calling for a supervisor or our designee to be assigned a seat on that committee. That should have happened almost 2 years ago, but it didn't for whatever reason. So at this point, do we have one of the board members that would like to serve on that committee? So I guess that's the first question. Do we have a board member that wants to serve? I can tell you that in working with them in the past couple days, the meetings are held. It looks like the first ones is on January 8th at 9 a.m. So that was going to be the second Thursday of the month at 9 a.m. And they're all in Lakeport, with the exception of they're dark in July and they're dark in December. So it's 10 meetings per the year 2026, starting at 9 a.m. In speaking with the chair of that committee also, it is their hope and desire that an actual supervisor would be willing to serve there rather than us designating an appointee. So I'll throw that out. So far, not hearing. Go ahead.
Is there a possibility for an alternate as well to support? Because I think there's a lot of committees, and I think there's hesitance to suddenly raise our hand and say, I'll take on another committee. If there's an alternate, then I think that would maybe make things easier. And because of my participation in the child care work group over at CSAC, my being an alternate on First Five, and also joining the child care group here locally, I wouldn't mind. I think it would fit into that same type of discussion. And
I did read the bylaws. I don't recall seeing anything specifically for an alternate. Of course, we could always update the bylaws if we have to, but I can tell you that they are operating with another appointed member of the committee who generally sends someone else in their place. And in that situation, that person can't vote.
Gotcha.
So I would think that we would need to, I wouldn't have a problem with it, but I think we may, I don't have the bylaws in front of me today, but we may need to have to update them if we went the route of having an alternate as well.
Do you have time in your schedule for it?
you said 9 a.m., right?
Yes.
Second Thursday?
The schedule is second Thursday of the month at 9 a.m.
Okay. And is it always the same location? Or
It's
does it
always
bounce?
in Lakeport according to this schedule I was sent.
I'll give it a shot.
Okay, so you want to try it for a year?
I'm looking at my calendar. I'm all the way through April, and I do have the availability. It makes it tight for others after the fact, but I'm sure I could fit it in.
And maybe we could have county council look at the bylaw to see if that alternate fits or not.
Yeah, I
Go
could
ahead.
be the alternate. I do have a slot between two meetings, so it's not ideal either. But I wouldn't mind being an alternate for that to make sure that there's quorum and always someone in attendance.
Okay, so with that, we could put Supervisor Sabatier and Supervisor Pyska as an alternate, but we have to see if it actually allows for that. Otherwise, we could bring back the bylaws later. Is there anyone that wishes to make any further changes on any of these committees?
I have a suggestion for committees, but would probably be after we accept
A
this.
suggestion for adding a committee? or-
Adding one for the,
I don't know if that would fit in today's item.
no, it doesn't have to.
Okay.
I was just
So
going
we
to
could
put
bring
it on
that
the
back.
radar.
Okay. We'll probably have to, I don't think it's open for discussion today, but with it not being part of this, but we can always bring back an item.
It's for animal control.
Okay.
To have somebody assigned to that.
Yeah, that would have to be, because the board has never assigned a supervisor to that committee. So we can discuss that later. I don't feel that we need to make any other changes. I'm happy where I'm at and would rather stay with that since I have the schedule dialed in for me. Anything else from supervisors on this? So from what I understand, we have, Lloyd, we just need, we don't need a formal vote on this, do we?
It would be by, thank you, Mr. Chair, it would be by
Motion.
motion, and your board may want to take in public
Okay,
comment
so-
as well.
Yes, we'll need to take public input. Is there any members of the public that wish to comment at this point? Anybody in the room? Anybody online? What was that? Oh, we have Samantha Bond, and she's actually the chair of the Maternal, Child, and Adolescent Committee. Samantha, go ahead and we'll unmute you.
Thank you. Just a couple points of clarification. At the moment, our bylaws do not allow for an alternate. However, we are going to be reviewing our bylaws this Thursday. The meeting does go from 9 a.m. to 10:30. So I do understand if you have to leave before that 10:30 timeframe, as it is new to your guys' schedules. And I just want to also express my deep gratitude to the board for appointing somebody to this advisory board, as we do think that it's really important to have somebody represented to help us kind of continue our work with maternal, child, and adolescent health. So thank you.
Thank you. Any other public comment, Johanna? Betsy Kahn.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Betsy Kahn. I just would like to encourage whoever is assigned to the IHSS Advisory Committee to please help us put that committee back on its feet and get it going. Thank you.
Thank you. So if there's nothing further from the board, I think we're ready for, can we do one motion, County Council? For both of those?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So it would be the motion as presented to your board with the committee assignment list would be to appoint the recommended 2026 committee assignments for members of the Board of Supervisors as amended with the amendments laid out by your board in the discussion.
Okay, and Caroline, did you have a clear understanding of the amendments that were made? Okay.
So offered?
Second.
Motion's been offered and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Hearing none, the motion, or I'm sorry, did you have?
I just wanted to add something afterwards, but let you finish.
Okay, so calling for a vote, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Nobody opposed, motion carries 5-0. Go ahead, Supervisor Sabatier.
Yeah, I just wanted to mention, based on the public comment we received, there's not an IHSS committee that supervisors are appointed to. We are the IHSS decision-making body, as we just decided who the chair and the vice chair is. I know that I've had conversations in the recent past, probably within the last 6 months, with Social Services Director Rachel Dillman Parsons to see what we can do to get people back in. But usually the majority of, if not all of the board members that are part of that committee are those that are using the services of IHSS or providing services within IHSS, and it's been a difficult time to get people to raise their hand and want to be a part of that. I will check in again, but I know that we made another effort and we were not able again to get things going. So it's just a difficult group to put together.
Thank you. Okay, with that, we'll go ahead and close this item and move on to our 6.8, which is a 10 a.m. item. It's a public hearing, consideration of agreement for the purchase of real property adjacent to the East Lake landfill in Clear Lake, and B, adopt a resolution accepting and recordation of grant deed. And we have our Public Services Director, Lars Ewing, here, and I'll turn it over to him to introduce this item.
All right. Good morning, Board. Lars Ewing, Public Services Director. The memo spells out what the request is, but just for the purposes of summarizing it, the county has been pursuing an expansion of the East Lake landfill over the last 5 or 6 years. Well, that's all right. If I'm out of time, then vote. So we just completed, the county just completed phase 1 of that landfill expansion that your board had previously approved. The expansion is built in phases. So one of the expansion phases, in fact, the last phase, which would be anticipated to be constructed in 8 to 10 years, does require a small portion of property to be acquired to the north. And so that in 2021, your board approved a negotiating committee for conceptual approval, granted conceptual approval of that acquisition. So since that time, it was a number of years ago, but since that time, we've progressed with the property owners to get to the point where we have a purchase agreement along with the resolution for the recordation of the grant deed. So I know that's a very brief summary, but the long and the short of it is it's about a little over 11 acres of property to the north, and it would provide an estimated 5 years of additional site life for the landfill. So I'll end there and happy to answer any questions.
Thank you. Do we have any questions from board members regarding this item? Supervisor Sabatier?
Yeah, just a brief comment. Thank you for the extra information that you provided. Made it very clear as to exactly what pieces of the properties we were purchasing, and also gave me a little insight on what for. So I appreciate that. Thank you.
Thank you. Do we have any members of the public in the room that wish to speak on this item? Seeing none. Johanna, do we have anyone online? No hands online. I'll bring it back to the board for action.
Mr. Chair, I move to approve the agreement for the purchase of real property adjacent to the East Lake landfill in Clear Lake. And I will stop there and say, allow the chair to sign. Authorize the chair to sign.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Hearing none, motion carries 5-0.
And Mr. Chair, I offer the resolution.
And the resolution's been offered.
Supervisor Owen?
Yes.
Supervisor Sabatier?
Aye.
Supervisor Crandall?
Yes.
Supervisor Pyska?
Yes.
And Supervisor Rasmussen?
Aye. And that passes, and I believe we're concluded.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Ewing. Going to move. 5-minute break. We're going to take a 5-minute break. We're going to call the meeting back to order. And at this time, we're going to do our 7.3 item, which is consideration of formation of an ad hoc committee toward development of a Lake County energy policy. And we have members of our CASO's office here to introduce this item. And with that, I'll turn it over to you.
Thank you, and good morning, Chair Rasmussen, Vice Chair Pyska, and Supervisors. Matthew Rothstein, Chief Deputy County Administrative Officer. As you will recall, during your board's 2025 discussion surrounding consideration of implementation of community choice aggregation, interest was expressed by multiple supervisors in developing a broader energy strategy and/or policy for the County of Lake. Toward that end, the concept of forming an ad hoc county energy policy committee was raised. Topics that could be addressed by such a committee include county policy for intake and management of energy projects, consulting on matters of statewide or federal energy policy that affect Lake County's interests, citing of geothermal and other energy projects, initiatives to mitigate high energy costs, and partnerships to analyze possible environmental impacts of energy development. This ad hoc committee would be tasked with providing strategic input and recommendations for your board as a whole to consider in development of an energy policy. If your board so desires to create such an ad hoc committee, staff recommends representatives on the committee include at least the following: 2 supervisors, the county administrative officer or designee, community development director or designee, the Public Services Director or designee, the County Treasurer or designee, and the Deputy County Administrative Officer focused on economic development, Mr. Rickelman. Prior to receiving your further input, Economic Development Focused Deputy County Administrative Officer Benjamin Rickelman will provide a brief update on energy-focused considerations that have arisen since your board's discussion of October 2025. And your board's continued engagement with this topic truly is timely, as rapid increases in electricity demand of the past 5 years are projected to continue, and additional investment in geothermal technologies, for example, is expected in order to meet statewide energy goals. Mr. Rickelman.
Good morning, Board. So there, as Mr. Rothstein mentioned, there's been several developments since we discussed this topic in October. First, there's been some engagement with other CCAs. So I've been reaching out with ones that are close or semi-close to Lake County. We have meetings scheduled with Marion Clean Energy, which operates in Napa County and a few other counties, and a meeting scheduled with Valley Clean Energy, which operates in Yolo County. And also reaching out and hoping to hear back from Pioneer Energy, which Glenn County will be joining in 2027. So we will update the board once we have more information from those CCAs and possible path forward. Another development is looking through questions from the community regarding geothermal and just broader energy policy with the county. There's a lot of technical questions, but there's also a difficult developmental pathway for energy projects with California's rather, I would say, opaque but demanding entitlement process. So with that, I was looking at Imperial County, which was appropriated $5 million from the state in 2022 with through SB 125. And part of that is for a programmatic EIR and specific plan. That's for both the development of a lithium industry through lithium extraction and manufacturing, but also geothermal, which is a major resource down there. And it's really the only area in California where there's been significant geothermal development recently. So looking at that, they've been going through this programmatic EIR process, and they just released a draft. It's almost 1,000 pages. It's quite the document, but it does a lot to go really in depth, kind of what are the impacts potentially with seismicity, water usage, impacts with the Salton Sea. And so they got now a really, I would say, comprehensive analysis on possible impacts of this industry. On the flip side, what it does is it creates a overlay of geothermal. And so it makes a much more straightforward process since they've done all this spade work on the front end with potential environmental impacts to provide more regulatory certainty for projects. So I think it could be a great tool for Lake County. And so we're preparing a ask to the state for possible funding. It would be a considerable expense, so I don't think really the general fund could support it. But it might be because kind of the unique economic opportunity it offers to the county, but also addressing community concerns with these industries. I think it could be a really powerful tool. So going to be working with community development to refine that ask, and then re-engaging with the state delegation to hopefully get that funded. Another thing we're working on is going to work with a consultant for community energy projects. So there's been several comments here and in community meetings and discussions of the impact of high energy prices on small businesses. So what we can do to attain funding for microgrid projects and battery energy storage. So hopefully that provides some solutions. It's a little bit of a struggle right now because of the pullback in federal tax credit funding for solar arrays, but we're keeping at it. And then, as Matthew was talking at a high level, there has been an increase of interest from energy companies. Actually, starting tomorrow, there's a geologic hydrogen company, I think you're all aware of, Coloma, that's going to start reaching out to landowners in Lake, Mendocino, and Sonoma regarding subsurface imaging. So at this point, it's just putting a small node in the ground to look at subsurface for hydrogen potential. we anticipate that will start in April. They said they're going to contact several hundred landowners. They would be compensated if they want to participate. And then, of course, if anything were to develop with exploratory drilling, it would have to go through the county's permitting process and through the states. So for any dirt getting turned per se, it's a significant ways off, but this is the beginning of the process. And there has been a few geothermal companies interested in Lake County recently too. There's two I know of, and there's a few more I think are poking around.
Thank you, Mr. Glickman, for your updates, and we look forward to your board's engagement and discussion and consideration of whether to form an ad hoc committee as described.
Right. Looks like Supervisor Owen.
I'm really excited about this. I think it's much needed. And so I would actually be interested. And I believe Sabatier would be interested as well.
Supervisor Pyska.
Yeah, I'm glad we're having this conversation again, too. There's a lot going on, and it's really important that we pause for a minute and set our table and prepare for more and more developers coming. It's really important that we develop a pathway for when developers reach out. They know exactly who to talk to. We have a team in place. We develop this policy. We do the programmatic EIR. There's a lot of work to be done, and there is a sense of urgency here. So I'm glad that we're talking about this again. There's quite a lot going on. We've had a lot of conversations about microgridding in my district going all through last year that do involve public service and special districts. So I don't think that they need to be part of this ad hoc committee permanently, but I would like to have the flexibility to be able to bring them in as needed to talk about these different things. And, ultimately, we need to decide what's best for Lake County before we start courting developers and before developers start coming here. That's the biggest priority of this ad hoc committee, and I definitely want to be a part of it. Oh, and the other thing is that with my NACO committee, EELU, which is environment, energy, and land use, we have been talking about all of these topics for the last several years. There's a lot more rolling out this year, especially nationwide, with the high need for energy and data centers and kind of what's all happening in the California space.
Supervisor Sabatier.
Yes, definitely interested. Already have met multiple times with some developers and other interested parties with Supervisor Owen. I've been sending all of this information over to Mr. Rickelman because, in my opinion, you're the point of contact for these types of things just because this is economic development. And so I always wanted to make sure you're clued in. I think this is a beginning phase one. Because yes, we need to get our feet on the ground and we need to get some guidance created. But in the long run, we have to involve the tribes and the cities. We are not going to win the energy game or market here in Lake County if we think just the county should do it for everyone else. I think we have to invite everyone else to the table eventually. So I think this is phase one to start what we want, what our platform is, but then we have to open up the doors eventually because I think that that would be just nearsighted. So very interested. I think just as is, I think every committee has the ability to bring in folks that need to provide information to us. So I think that's already kind of set up in there. And just, yeah, I'll stop there. So thank you.
Supervisor Crandall.
Yeah, so just thinking about the discussion we had a few months back, and then just in this memo talking about a community choice aggregation. I think it's important. We wanted to move in this direction. I think this ad hoc is a good start for it, regardless of who's on it. I think there's enough that want to be on it that I'll take a step back. I think it's very important, like Supervisor Sabatier said, to get the tribes and the cities involved, because if we do it without them, there's potential for a lawsuit on all ends. So I think that's important. And whether it be geothermal, whether it be, I don't know, anything else, that just, we need to do it. So I'm fine with it, and I think we just need to figure out who wants to be on it, right? Or if we're going to do it, and who's going to be on it, right?
Right. So if there's nothing further, we'll open it up to the public before we bring it back for action. And you'll have 3 minutes.
Good morning, Board. Good morning, Chair. Yes, I think this is great to have a committee. I think the Board has touched on a variety of important topics to make sure the tribes and cities are involved, to protect our assets and our resources, first and foremost, and that whoever does come in comes in on our terms. I would respectfully suggest that we also look at, beyond, say, geothermal, looking at ways to encourage development of self-generation, home solar and things like that, to lower the barriers to entry into that type of energy development. Right now, it's if you can afford the startup costs, it becomes quite attractive to, put in your own solar panels, but the barrier is that upfront cost. So I would recommend and encourage that as part of this policy, to find ways that the county can work with providers to lower that cost, whether it be lowering permitting fees, to have revolving loans, having ways that the cost can be applied to deferred through, say, property tax or some other mechanism, so that the investment can be spread out and make it more affordable for more people to participate. I like the idea of just about everything that was said here. There is a lot of opportunity, and I think this is a great step forward. Thank you.
Thank you.
Wes Baker, Lower Lake. Good morning, Board. I think this is the first time I've been here that I'm not opposed to something. This is a great idea, you guys, and it's what's really needed. And I think a lot of what we went through last year could have, and more likely would have been avoided, in that we came real close to being fooled by someone in regards to the geothermal, at least, and we didn't get the whole side on the discounts of what we may get, if we use those guys. But the geothermal side of it, it was kind of aloof of what we were being told, was how about that, they called it a geozone, and I think that was a word that they made up. Or they for sure were using it, and they weren't really clearly defining it to anyone. And there was a lot of questions. In fact, I even brought up during that one of their own board members, I was watching their TV of their board, and one of their own board members, right in the last month, I think it was in October or November when we were voting on it, one of their board members asked them, what is a geozone? So they didn't even know, and we can't be fooled by this kind of stuff. I watched another one of their meetings, and come to find out, and they were a little aloof in not telling us. So I'm not saying they weren't telling us the truth, but we weren't getting the whole truth.
So we're getting a little bit off topic. If we can focus on this energy.
There was a major contract with Chevron involved in that. And we can do a major contract with Chevron. We can do it ourselves, if that's the case down the future. In 2000, back in 2000, about 2004, 2005, there was another geothermal that wanted to set one up over in Lower Lake at the Herman Impound. They were going to tap into a Superfund site, and they were going to build this big plant right on the lake. And the board then passed a rule that said no visual industrial stuff on the lake. We need to keep that in place. And we need this group. We really need this group. We need this group. And another way is that if a plant decides to come here, have a bond for when they decide to leave and it doesn't work, that this plant is removed.
I think right now we're focusing on should we form this committee?
Yes, and this is what I'm just saying, reasons that we should form it is because we need to have rules in place. We need, Bruno talked about a platform. We need planks first before we make the platform. We need individual little planks, and yes, make the committee. Thank you.
Thank you. Do we have anyone else in the room? Yes, Margot, you'll have 3 minutes.
Thank you so much, Mr. Chair and Board. Margot Kambara. This formation of an ad hoc committee is a terrific first step. It's an important step to our energy future, and I hope our energy independence. The approach that Supervisor Sabatier suggests, I think, is very sound, and it makes a lot of sense, and it is most fair to include the tribes and the incorporated cities, to have bring them to the table. May I also suggest that the ad hoc committee cast a wider net for energy solutions and look beyond just CCAs, community, I forgot what it is, aggregator, community choice aggregators. Consider, at least look into Lake County as its own energy broker and bringing in partners so we are more independent. So we do provide more reasonable utility rates for our residents and our businesses. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else in the room? Johanna, do we have any hands online? No hands online. Bring it back to the board. I hadn't weighed in yet, but I definitely agree this is something we need to do right away and start working on. I also agree that having the cities and the tribes involved right now, early on, is definitely beneficial to our future discussions on these items. As far as assignments, I'm fine. I know we have 3 people that are interested, so I'm fine not trying to get on this one. I feel like probably Supervisor Pyska and either the District 1 or 2 supervisors should be, one of those 2 as well, should be on the committee. That's where I stand.
I agree with that.
Supervisor Sabatier.
I just wanted to say that I am going to reiterate what I said earlier. I think it's good for us to meet as the county first, to set our platform as the county because we need to think of us as an agency first and foremost and create our platform. Then we invite everyone else. Let's not bring a community choice aggregate and say, here's what we want to offer, and then have that be the last conversation. We need to do that way ahead of time with the cities and the tribes for whatever we're moving towards. But I think we need to figure out what are our options, what are we looking into. Once we have a better platform to jump from, then we open up into phase 2. I really believe we need to start internally and grow from there, but not move into a project and share that project at the last moment like I feel like we were doing with the choice aggregate that was provided earlier or later last year. So I would still love to be on the committee. If it's not worth the fight, then I'm okay with backing down. But I just think that there's been some collaboration already between myself and Supervisor Owen with some of the things that were discussed here already. And I think there would need to be a conversation on how do we cut that and not have some kind of Brown Act at that point for the conversations that have already occurred in the past. So that's again, willing to jump off, but there are some conversations that have gone pretty deep.
Supervisor Owen?
Yeah, we have been working, and actually we're setting up another meeting with somebody. And the big issue for me was we have resources, and I wanted our community, our people here in Lake County, to be able to benefit from those resources. And that's the direction that we were working on. We do have somebody that has formed these type of, they've formed CCA, is it CC, the committees anyway, the power agencies, and they have stated that they will work pro bono to help put us together, to put this together, to put something together for Lake County. But the big issue for me, and one of the reasons I could not support the Sonoma County Clean Power, was our people really were not benefiting. And I want our people to be able to get lower electrical bills. And I didn't know that this ad hoc was going to be coming forward. I've asked Bruno to help me, and we've been working together with another power agency where it could possibly bring our bills down by 40 to 50%. And I don't know if it's going to come to fruition or not, but it's something we've been having some talks with. And so that's why I had mentioned nothing, with Jessica. It was just that Bruno and I had already been working with and meeting with somebody that said that they would pro bono their expertise in this field, in this area. So, and I would like to, if possible, can I go ahead and offer that we put the ad hoc together?
Hang on, we have further comment
Yeah,
before action.
I feel very strongly that I need to be on part of this. I think I brought this up when we were having the last conversation. It was my suggestion to do this. It's bigger than just geothermal, and I appreciate that there's already been conversations. I think there's ways to remedy that so we don't have Brown Act violations going forward. But it's bigger than geothermal, although I do have a new plant coming back online in my district. This includes biomass, this includes microgridding, this includes hydrogen, this includes all of our energy policy. So it is important to take that really broad look at everything that's going on.
Sure. We also have wind power coming into Lower Lake, it looks like. So I'm aware that it's broad. It's a broad spectrum.
And lastly, I'll comment, I'm fine with, if we want to get this started, but my thought process on the tribes and the cities was, I just want to get that done sooner than later. So, I don't know how long it's going to take to get it off the ground and figure out before we invite them. But so I'm fine if we get started first, as Supervisor Sabatier said. And I still feel I know we have a lot of interest. We can only do 2. You guys are working on stuff, but I also feel Supervisor Pyska has been active in this area and in the energy area and has experience too. So I still think 5 in District 5 in either 1 or 2. And I do agree that there's ways that Supervisor could still work on stuff without, of course, we'll have to get advice from County Council, but I don't know that means that you can't work on something anymore if all 3 are not appointed. Go ahead, Supervisor.
As I stated, I'm willing to step down and move on to the next item.
Okay, so with that, we'd be ready for potential action.
Okay, I'm going to offer the recommendation for the committee for the energy. I can't find it on here to read it. Okay, there it is. Okay, for Lake County Energy Policy, an ad hoc committee. I'm going to offer that we have that first of all. We want to do it in pieces, or do we want to put the people in first? At the same time.
She's offering that we approve the committee, but do we need to do that separate from who we're appointing?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So that can be done as one with the identification of as part of the motion, just for confirmation, it would be a motion to form the Lake County Ad Hoc Energy Policy Committee, and your board may want, as part of that motion, expressly identify the 2 supervisors, because I believe the other the other members, as recommended by staff, are already specifically identified based on department head positions. So as part of the motion, form the Lake County Ad hoc Energy Policy Committee with the two supervisors as members of said committee. And I just, for your board's consideration, I believe that would be Vice Chair Pyska and Supervisor Owen as the two board members.
Is that what you were offering,
Yes.
Vice Chair Pyska and yourself?
Yes.
So-
I didn't know if I had to break it out. That was my question.
Okay, so we have a motion on the floor to form the committee and appoint Supervisors Pyska and Owen. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Hearing none, the motion carries 5-0. Thank you. And I believe we're going to move on to our 10:30 item, 6.9 item, which is a public hearing. Consideration of ordinance to amend Chapter 21, Articles 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 18, 19, 27, and 68 of the Lake County Zoning Code to implement General Plan 6th Cycle Housing Element Policies, HE-38, 38, HE-59, HE-60, HE-61, HE-71, HE-72, and HE-73, and a policy for implementation of HE-6. And with that, we have our Community Development Director and staff here, and I'll go ahead and turn it over to you for presentation.
Thank you. Maria Turner, Community Development Director. I have with me Senior Planner Michelle Iris. The item you have before you today includes the implementation of a number of tasks from the current or sixth cycle housing element. The housing element is a chapter of the Lake County General Plan. It is required to be updated every 8 years by the state. And our current sixth cycle housing element was adopted or approved by the board in 2019 and certified by the state in 2020. It remains in effect through 2027. So we are already gearing up to prepare our seventh cycle housing element, which we'll start working on later this year. Before we do that, the state wanted to make sure that we had implemented or done what we said we were going to do. And so the board remembers recently, last year, that you adopted HE 58, which was part of it, which the state really wanted done before the end of the year. And these seven are the remaining implementation tasks from the sixth cycle that we need to get done prior to getting started on our seventh cycle. The purpose of the housing element is to highlight the jurisdiction, in this case the county's housing stock, the condition, the demographics of our county, who are our residents, what economic levels are we, and to look for ways to assist or to support housing development in the county through a variety of activities. One of which is lowering governmental obstacles, and this could include permit fees, permit time processing, zoning restrictions, regulations, things like that. And so that's what's focused on in these implementation tasks today. We'll go through them one by one. The first one is not included in the draft zoning amendment that is an attachment on this item. And that's because it's actually a policy. It's the establishment of a policy and procedure that'll give priority and expedited processing to residential developments that include a significant portion of units restricted to very low, or moderate income households. And so that was included as policy number 1. We have shrunk the time for permit processing, which is kind of fast tracking these particular projects when they come up.
Additionally, we listed things that we're already doing that would assist in supporting this type of development, and that includes the pre-development meetings, which have existed for ever, which we do encourage our larger and more complex projects or applicants to apply for, because it's an opportunity for multiple departments, all the stakeholder departments that would be adding recommendations or requirements or asking questions, to meet on the project at the same time prior to the applicant paying a lot of money to actually launch their application. We have also instituted the electronic permitting system, or OpenGov, which does enable, it does streamline and enable them to apply easier. And so that would be our policy that, if approved by the board, would be added to the Community Development Policies and Procedures Manual. The remaining items before you are included in an ordinance to amend our zoning code. The next one, HE 38, is to adopt amendments that would allow additional residential development in community commercial areas where appropriate services are available. Not only was this particular one included in the sixth cycle housing element, but as we have surveyed the county for the Lake County 2050 general plan and local area plan update, there has been strong support that's resonated throughout the county in every local area plan, supporting additional mixed use opportunities in our community commercial areas. And so we're kind of excited about that one, because in all the meetings that we had with the LAPACs and the GPAC, we got a lot of positive support for not huge residential developments like you can picture, in Vallejo with a store on the bottom and like 120 units on top, but more like an apartment above or next to a pizza place or over the coffee shop or things like that. Our current zoning ordinance has been fairly restrictive in that, and this would open that for additional development uses. The next one is to allow supportive housing by right in commercial or other zoning designation that have access to support services. This one is to come into compliance with existing state law. Next, HE 60, setting a maximum stay in emergency shelter for 180 days and removing 300-foot buffer limitation on emergency shelters. This also is to come into compliance with state law. The zoning ordinance amendment to accommodate agricultural employee housing of 6 to 12 units or up to 36 beds in all zones permitting agriculture as a permitting use. This allows for an additional way that housing can be developed on ag land, which currently is extremely restricted in residential development uses. The zoning ordinance HE 71 to allow for a residential unit on a second story or higher, subject to the minor use permit. We're removing that minor use permit requirement, as well as parking requirements. There are already parking requirements for the commercial use itself, and so that residential use would just be integrated into that without additional requirements. Next one, HE 72, to amend the zoning ordinance to remove that minor use permit requirement for multifamily developments for 20 or more units. And then lastly, HE 73, to make revisions if necessary to allow low barrier navigation centers. This also is to come into compliance with existing state law. The housing element went through environmental review, pretty sure it tiered off of the general plan EIR. And so to implement already evaluated implementation tasks is considered to have no additional impact. And so that was the CEQA for this item. Staff recommends two things. One, to approve the first reading of the ordinance that would do the amendments to the zoning code, and secondly, to adopt the internal policy to be integrated into the Community Development Policies and Procedures Manual. And we're happy to answer any questions you may have.
Supervisor Sabatier?
There's not all that much in here that I like. This is a one-size-fits-all expectation of all communities in the state of California to meet the requirements of the state to help with housing. Hasn't helped. There's a reason we don't build housing here, and it's not because of our zoning. I asked you yesterday, Director Turner, how many have we denied because these rules aren't in place? The answer is 0. Nobody's asking for these things. It's the cost versus the actual value of the home that are being built that is the issue. This doesn't change anything. In fact, I disagree with the environmental review. I think there will be some environmental impacts. If we start building above C2 and not add any parking, that's not going to be one person that lives up above. It's going to be multiple people. And so if you drive around in some of the low-income areas that we have, parking is a major issue, and there's cars all over the place. And I just think that it's not 2027. I think that we need to have a conversation with RCRC. I think we need to have a conversation with HCD and invite them to come here and see what this community is, and that these things are not the barriers to what they are telling us are the barriers. But approving this and just saying yes, I don't see my vision, and maybe we don't share the same vision. I don't see my vision of what the character of our community is continuing to be the character of this community if we start looking like normal Marin County suburbia or inner city type of environments where we're just building up. And I think this takes away the local control. The cost versus the profit margins is our issue for housing, not these laws. And so I want to push back a little bit to the point where we don't get ourselves in trouble, but say, we agreed to this in 2019, and I made a mistake for agreeing to those things. But I've evolved in my way of understanding what is the problem with our housing here, and it's not these rules. I also have concerns for some of the rules that are being set for some of our shelters and some of the low barrier stuff, in the sense that I don't know that we meet those yet at this point, and I'd like to make sure we review that before we implement them. They're saying there needs to be like 100 square foot area for intake. I don't know that the shelters we have that specific square footage, and I'd like to review that before we put those in place. But I understand what they're attempting to do, but in Lake County, it's not the solution. And I'll be honest, I don't know what the solution is, but the cost of building is our major issue, not these rules, not these zoning changes, where now things are going to be by right versus a methodical, well-planned community. And I think this is it's weird. They want us to do all these things, but I see an environmental justice issue in the future where low-income communities will look like utter crap because there's no planning involved. It's all by right, versus high-income communities continue to be planned out, well-organized, and I think that makes for a messy future. We need to plan out and organize all growth, period, and not just copy and paste what's going to work in LA and San Francisco. So I know that's a tough ask when we have the state with a gun to our head right now saying you have to approve these things, but I don't want it to damage our movement towards pro-housing designation, because that's another way of getting at us, that we're going to lose money and funding to help out some of the issues that we're trying to make impact on. But at the same time, it's not 2027, and I think we need to invite them here, and I think we need to see what RCRC can do, because this is something I think RCRC absolutely fully agrees with, that this is an issue that the state is forcing down our throat, and it's not solving the problem. The problem is affordability.
Yes.
I thank Supervisor Sabatier for his comments because this is a total preaching to the choir moment. In my time as a council member with the city of Lakeport, working with the League of California Cities, it has been a fire hose over at least the last 10 years of all the legislation that the state has been throwing at the wall to try to solve problems. But a lot of it is not very well thought out regarding how each jurisdiction has different needs, and how none of it, when you're looking at the jurisdiction to lower regulations, we don't even charge things like impact fees that the cities might, and so they targeted that, and that seems good. That's fine because it didn't affect us anyway. But like with SB 9, with that little tiny parcel on a 20-acre parcel, and these things that fit in high density urban populations, just are a mess in the rural locations. Completely agree with you. I know that we can't do a lot here, but what I want to give the board as encouragement is, as we're launching that 7th cycle housing element, or even right now with Lake County 2050, let's make sure that we're including a task that says setting up objective design and development standards for multifamily residential. So when they are by right, they have the guidelines that we're looking for in order to make sure that future housing development is an asset to our community and not a detriment. Let's get that, we'll make sure we include that. When we come into the 7th housing element cycle, we're going to have some challenges because they're breaking down the economic levels into even more microscopic kind of pieces and parts. And so as fulfilling our RHNA, our regional housing needs assessment numbers, it's going to be even more of a challenge than before. But that means in the next year and a half, the board is going to have significant input on how housing is developed in Lake County. And so that is our next cycle for this board to think about lessons learned from this last cycle to apply to the next one, while still, of course, balancing requirements from that never-ending fire hose of legislation that's coming from the state. And please talk to RCRC about getting some of these housing-focused state legislators out to Lake County, because I don't know if they've seen large parcels in rural areas before, and I don't think they're really thinking about them as they're making laws that will affect us. So I'm happy to serve. I will light my torch and storm that castle with you. Yeah, I totally agree.
Supervisor Hahn?
Okay, I'm going to ditto a lot of what Mr. Sabatier has mentioned. I am really excited about relaxing regulations to a certain extent. And I think it needs to be done across the board, however, because it is one of the stopping points for our community's growth. However, one of the issues I'm having is with the parking, relaxing the parking to the extent that it is. In the urban areas, they have much more transit, community transit, public transit, that we don't have here. Therefore, more of our low income do have vehicles. And if we're not requiring the parking spaces to take care of that, we're going to run into some issues where are they going to park? Because they do have vehicles. So that was a huge issue for me. And I just, like I said, I echo what Sabatier has said, but I do think we need to kind of really be looking at the parking as well, because we don't have the public transit.
Any further board comments before we open to public? Supervisor Pyska?
And just, again, with the parking and our communities, we also don't have curbs and gutters and wide streets everywhere. So there's a lot of infrastructure that is not being considered, like you mentioned, like rural. The rurals don't look like the suburbans and the urbans. And, this blanket of policy just doesn't apply. Not only that, but most of our county is on septic, or a big portion of our county is on septic. And, a lot of most of the people that live in my district are on septic too. So without that infrastructure, you really can't implement this.
Supervisor Crandall?
Yeah, I was just looking at in a couple of these where it says to remove the minor use permit. Does it just go back to ministerial? Is that what it would be?
Yes.
Okay, and then And then there's one that says, I think it was HE 61, allow agricultural employee housing with a minor use permit. So that'll stay with the minor use?
Yes.
Okay. I think that was the main thing. I can also just add that as the rural county representatives rep, we just need to come up with what I need to advocate there, and I'll bring it at member concerns, county member concerns. Before we go next time, I think January, we'll have that. We'll reach out to you and get some information so that we can get them to work on it, because they'll take it to the state across the street and work on it for us or do what they can. So, yeah.
Any further board comments before we open it? Go ahead.
Yeah, just wondering, is it possible to postpone today?
Well, anything's possible.
What are the
I would strongly
Is
recommend
the state
not.
saying today or?
This is the deadline that I was able to negotiate with the state.
Why are we negotiating a deadline? Why did we not, why was
I'm
this?
trying to avoid us getting a spanking
No,
from
I know, but I
HCD.
mean, why did it not come forward earlier?
Because I did not direct my staff to actually do this until the state said, hey, you got to get this done, right? And then we have been working with them ever since.
And how long ago were you notified prior to that?
I
have you
think
known about
the letter came maybe a year ago, and I had a senior planner working on it as soon as it came. But I have since lost that senior planner.
All right, so right now is what we've negotiated to.
Correct.
To be able to be in compliance in the state's eyes.
Correct. In the state's eyes, this is just a very simple action of implementing the things that we told the state we were going to do.
Okay. We'll go ahead and open this up to the public right now. Do we have anyone in the room who wishes to comment?
If I could add one last item.
Yes, go ahead.
In the commercial areas, expanding a footprint or development typically requires a design review. And so that design review can either be conditional or ministerial. We will handle it as a ministerial, but that's why I'm really hoping that we can start moving on objective design and development standards soon, so that we can implement that into our zoning code update, and then even the ministerial designs will be ensured to be will look like and operate like how the county wants to see it.
Okay, thank you. Go ahead, Margot. You'll have 3 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, Board, Margot Kambara. On this topic, Supervisor Sabatier brings up important points and suggestions. Talking to RC and HCD sound like terrific ideas. Also, there is that specter of having an environmental justice issue loom, maybe not in the too distant future. Low-income areas can very easily look even worse because of lack of planning. And that looks like we're headed in that direction. So I would urge your board, I see that you have considered trying to negotiate. Well, perhaps this is a time to go back to the table with the state and say, can we negotiate a little more time so we can do this properly? I would strongly recommend that. We're already seeing that there's a lot of pressure to bring housing to the county. We need it in the state and throughout the nation. But if we're not careful, we are going to lose one of the most precious assets that we have in Lake County, and that is, the rural, small town feel of the community. We're going to be overrun with high rises that obscure the beautiful views of the lake or Mount Konocti. And so it takes a lot of thought to juggle both the pressure from the state to provide more housing versus standing our ground on what we value for the aesthetics of our community. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else in the room? Anyone online, Johanna? Guest. Go ahead, guest.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Angela Amaral. I have to agree with Supervisor Sabatier. This is not a one-size-fits-all scenario. It needs to be discussed further. I question if this is a rushed request for adoption in response to the most recent letter we sent to Lake County on July 8th, 2025 from HCD about the county being out of compliance and at risk of losing funding. The letter gave a deadline of November 2025 for an updated timeline since Lake County was out of compliance and years overdue. I'd like to ask if an updated timeline or other response was sent to HCD since their letter to the county in July of 2025. And I do believe that this needs more input, discussion with RCRC, HCD. But I'd really like to not see it be rushed. This is a lot of changes for people in the county. Thank you.
Thank you. Any further, Johanna? Holly Harris. Holly, you'll have 3 minutes. Can you hear us, Holly?
Sorry, I thought I was unmuted. Holly Harris, Clear Lake Oaks. Thank you. I have a couple comments on the proposed ordinance and policy, but first I want to say that I do agree with Supervisor Sabatier and Owen, and I also do feel that this is being rushed. First of all, the first one is on the draft HE6 to expedite processing. That includes a significant portion of restricted units, but the document refers to qualifying projects, but there's no criteria. So what's the definition of a qualifying project? What's considered significant in terms of amount? What type of oversight will ensure the units remain restricted? And can we reference the California state definition of restricted unit or some other definition for clarity? Then secondly, the one that I'm most concerned about is in sections 9 through 12 of the proposed ordinance on the HE72 and the amendments to Article 12 on R3 zoning. This section is confusing. It repeats itself. The numbering is incorrect. In section 11D, it refers to an expedited affordable housing project as defined in Article 68, but there is no definition, nor is there any mention of one as regulated in Article 27. Section 11E refers to housing developments with 20% affordable units being allowed by right, but then this other section 10B appears to negate that by making all of them by right, which in effect somewhat obsoletes the ordinance that you just passed a couple weeks ago. Then section 10B refers to all the residential developments being allowed with right with no reference to restricted or affordable housing. And it references dwelling units, but section 4.6, I think it is, or 12.6, still references dwelling units needing a major use permit. And there's no list of identified affordable housing locations from the 6th cycle housing element, which would be helpful to the community. There are some other housekeeping issues too, but I will just end it with that. Thank you.
Thank you. Do we have any further online, Johanna? No more hands. We'll bring it back to the board for any further.
If I could add a few
Go ahead.
points of clarification. Thank you. Ms. Amaral is correct regarding the November deadline, but I was able to negotiate with the state to get this final deadline or timeline done. This ordinance has gone through its normal noticed public hearing process, so it's not rushed. It's actually an implementation of items that were approved by the board in 2019 and certified by the state in 2020. They've been in the housing element for the last 6 years. Additionally, the list of housing sites from the 6th cycle, I'm glad Ms. Harris brought that up because we just finished the map that Supervisor Sabatier and Owen had requested regarding last year's HE58. Showing the parcels that were in the last 2 cycles, so it would be the 6th and the 5th. Sent that to the board, and we will be posting that or uploading that now onto the appropriate county web pages so that the public will be able to see those. They included parcels in North Lakeport, Upper Lake, Kelseyville, and Lower Lake. And so shortly, as soon as we get that up and running, the public can access those and check out those individual parcels. They're highlighted in bold. There's some in Middletown too. Is there one in Middletown? Oh, good. Thank you. And that is the clarifications that I have. Thank you.
Thank you, Director.
But we also do have the definitions included already in Article 68. And included in page 14.
Okay. So will Supervisor Sabatier?
Yeah, I just want to at least loop back to the conversation of RCRC. I'm kind of checking in with County Council. What would be the best way? Do we bring that as a extra, not extra, but as a isolated item on our agenda and on a future agenda to discuss on how to, what exactly we're looking to ask from RCRC? We meet, because if we all meet individually with our RCRC rep, that doesn't quite sit well with the Brown Act. And so what would be the best way rather than doing that right here, right now? Because that's not the topic at this moment in time.
That can be done via direction to staff, and I believe the last part that you mentioned, Supervisor Sabatier, it would be correct, like to address that now via direction to staff may not fit within the parameters of the item that's before your board. So the alternative to that would be to present it at a future date as a separate item for your board's consideration, and the staff can certainly work on that as well but along with that, possible direction to staff as to what to communicate to RCRC. That would be one option for your board.
Okay, Supervisor Pyska?
Yeah, I have a suggestion. Why don't we bring it up in a governance meeting at the end of the month and put it on our priorities, and then our lobbyists can work on it, and then anyone on RCRC and CSAC can carry that forward.
There you go.
And we are going to an RCRC meeting in a couple of weeks, so we can at least mention it as an item and then do the follow-up that you mentioned.
Yeah, it'll be official by the end of the month, but
They do member county concerns, and that's where we can bring that.
yeah.
Okay. Anything further from the board before possible action, or?
And I don't have the full understanding of what we lose if we say no today. Can you help me better understand what the repercussions are? Because again, I'm very concerned that we're about to approve a law that I don't know that our shelters that are currently running meet the law.
I did not ask the state what happens if we don't do this by our deadline. And
just
but
to
however,
interrupt,
typically,
and I'm sorry for interrupting. I'm looking at postponing, not just saying absolutely not, never. But like I feel like there's certain things in here that I'm concerned that we are going to be putting certain things out of compliance. And to me, that's not okay to push people over the line where they're no longer in compliance, because that has a lot of other repercussions as well.
Can we dispute it? Maybe.
we'd be happy also, there is the legal nonconforming status that we have of ongoing approved uses that may qualify for that. In my conversations with the HCD representative, she had to confer with people above her and did so, and finally that's how we got the timeline that we're on now. I could request a continuance, however, she would want to understand the purpose of it, because are we going to say no to some of these, in which case that's a different conversation. Typically, when we refuse to implement the things that we're going to do, it affects grant options or funding options, but I'm just guessing. I don't know what the recourse would be, though other jurisdictions who are not in compliance with their housing element have had repercussions. Either the state comes in and takes over, or the funding is halted on a number of different programs. Yeah, we could get sued. Yeah, other jurisdictions have, right, right. So we're just anecdotally thinking about things that we've seen other jurisdictions do when they either are not in compliance with their housing element or refuse to take action as required by the state.
And I heard the deadline was now. What is the actual date?
It was November.
But you
But
negotiated.
it is now.
So
This
like
is the last
today,
date,
or-
correct. Yeah, this was what I was able to get after repeated conversations with the state.
Anything further?
Is there any type of rebuttal or appeal or anything that we could fill out that would push it out a little bit for us to work on it?
That's not an easy answer because we would be appealing things that we already approved. So who are we appealing?
We would be appealing the requirement that the state is handing down.
Well, the state is only requiring us to implement what we already approved. So I'm not clear on, it's not like the state is demanding something that we disagreed with. We actually approved this and sent it to the state as what we proposed to do.
When was this approved?
2019.
Okay.
And the state said, okay, certified it in 2020. And now they're holding us accountable to do what we said we were going to do.
Supervisor Pyska, did you have further?
I just, I don't see a way out of this right now. I think we've got to move forward. There's not, we don't have there's not a plan or a timeline or, we have to move forward on this or we're going to face consequences. And unfortunately, this is just the place we're in based on decisions made years ago.
Yeah, I think maybe our best bet is to formalize some communication with RCRC, get it on the radar when we have our January meeting, move forward with this, but continue to advocate. I think we all have concerns, but I don't know. So it would be a good idea not to approve it because there's consequences that are unknown, which could cause severe harm to us down the road.
And we can't jeopardize any of our projects that, could be moving forward.
Or grant money if something gets pulled or whatever. I don't know because we have too many things that are unclear. So that's where I'm at, to be ready to approve it and then continue to do some advocacy.
Yeah. It's frustrating that we're put in this position, but I hear you.
If it gives the board any level of comfort, developers are not banging down our door to do these high-density residential developments.
We still also have development standards for height.
Yes, it would not change our height restrictions, so we're not looking at skyscrapers.
And still building permits, clearances, zoning permits, grading permits.
All the existing regulations still remain in effect.
And the work that you're doing on 2050. in our
Exactly.
General plan. And area plans.
Yes.
All right. Do we have any action?
Yeah, Mr. Chair, I move that we approve the first reading of the ordinance to be read in title only.
So we have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed?
Aye.
Okay. So opposed. So we have motion carries 4-1. Did I hear that correctly? Okay.
An ordinance amending Chapter 21, Articles 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 18, 19, 27, and 68 of the Lake County zoning ordinance to implement general plan housing element policy HE 38, HE 59, HE 60, HE 61, HE 71, HE 72, HE 73 pertaining to housing development.
Okay.
Okay, so further action?
Mr. Chair, I move that we advance the ordinance to the next available board agenda.
We have a motion.
Second.
We have a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed?
Nay.
Motion carries 4-1.
And I move that we adopt the internal CDD policy for implementation of HE6.
Do we have a second?
Second.
So we have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Nay.
So that motion carries 4-1. And I believe that concludes that item.
Thank you.
Thank you. I'm looking at CAO 7.4. Sound okay? All right, item 7.4 is consideration to adopt amendment number 5 to the agreement between the County of Lake and Community Behavioral Health for specialty mental health services for fiscal years 23 to 24, 24 to 25, and 25 to 26. And we have our director, Elise Jones, here, and I will turn it over to you to explain this item.
Good morning and Happy New Year, Board. This item is Community Behavioral Health is one of our largest subcontracted providers. They provide all of our psychiatry services. They provide a large amount of our individual therapy services. So they provide the majority of our licensed staff that we're required to have. The most important thing I think for the board to understand about this contract is that it does represent a negotiation of the pass-through rate for the DHCS Medi-Cal reimbursement. So as we've been discussing over the past few months with behavioral health's fiscal position, part of our strategy to stabilize has been to negotiate reduced pass-through rates for the Medi-Cal reimbursement. So we started out with 65% of the pass-through for any given service, and DHCS publishes those. So we just referenced the service rates down 6 percentage points to 59%, which may not seem like a lot, but when you're dealing with millions of dollars, it adds up pretty quickly. So fortunately, we were able to negotiate that to become effective September 1st, which netted us savings beginning in September. We are going out to bid. We will be issuing an RFP for these services, just as a FYI to the board. So while this amendment will close out this remaining contract period, we'll be looking, to renew that and to continue these required services. For fiscal year, I will highlight for fiscal year 24-25, we billed approximately $8.3 million to Medi-Cal. Of those claims, 8.31 was approved and paid, which is a very high adjudication rate. On paper, that means that in 24-25, CBH saw 65% of that 8.3 million. Does that make sense? Because that's the pass-through rate. So we're overall reducing the amount that we're passing through to this very large contracted provider. That, I think, is it. Thank you for your questions, if you have any.
Questions from the board? Looks like Supervisor Sabatier is first.
Yeah, just a lot of concerns here. Again, this is a contractor that utilizes our facilities. At this moment in time, we don't have a facility use agreement. That concerns me because that's been ongoing for the last 3 years. At this moment in time, there was a request maybe about 9 months ago, 6 months ago, to make that happen. Still not there, so there's a liability issue that we're continuing to incur. We had approved based on, forget when it was, there was a repayment item that was provided to us, and then there was us approving the receipt-linked policy, I believe is what it's called, which is basically we don't pay you until we get paid through the reimbursement process of billing, of medical billing. And on item 2.6 in Exhibit B, I believe it's Exhibit B, says county shall make payment within 30 business days of an undisputed invoice for the compensation stipulated herein for supplies delivered and accepted or services rendered and accepted, less potential deductions, if any, as herein provided. And so from what I understand, and please correct me if I'm wrong, Director Jones, we are applying the receipt-linked policy, but yet we have a contract that says, and they can hold us accountable to it, that we must pay them within 30 business days of them submitting invoices, which they do every month on the 15th day of each month. And so it feels like there's a contradiction there. I'm concerned about the cost. I have concerns about I have a lot of questions that remain on the number of hours, the cost, and I know it's something that is being worked on, and it's something I wish we had today and yesterday as well, is just how is this actually helping the clients that are utilizing the services? What are the outcomes? And I know it's a very difficult task to get that kind of information, but I do know from Director Jones that that is something that in the future we will be getting without a specific date on when that will occur, but it's something that the state is pushing for as well. But this is an extra $10 million. We're paying nurses $525 an hour. We're not paying them specifically, but that's the cost. The DOs and MDs are at $1,325 or $65 an hour. And it's concerning because I went to look at other contracts with other counties with community behavioral health, and they had the breakdown similar to us with MDDO and other things, and they were at much lower rates per hour. And I just, more questions than I have answers at this moment in time. So I think we need to change the 2.6 to match the receipt linked. And also on the fiscal provision at the bottom, it does either we need to delete the part that says what the budget is per year, because the item at the very beginning under compensation, it says it will be paid and as the broken down in Exhibit B. And in Exhibit B right now, it just says to be determined rather than $10 million for 25-26.
Director Jones?
Effectively, payment cannot be made to the contractors if there are no funds available. And that has always been true of all of our contracts. Payment is contingent on funding. We're presently about probably 4 months behind in payments with all of our contractors. We are prioritizing, of course, those with direct services that are Medi-Cal reimbursable as getting those payments first when our dollars come in. As we begin to stabilize. In the absence of seeing what contracts you're referencing, I cannot comment. I don't know what type of services those are. I would also note that healthcare is expensive. Those are pretty normal rates for any managed care plan. And as regards the lease, that has been a co-occurring discussion and has been used as a leverage point to get to the reduced pass-through rate. And now that we have, my plan was after we got through this and we executed this amendment, then we could move forward with that lease. It's a nominal amount. It's not going to totally, net us a lot of money because we're just going off commercial rates and leases. It does include some additional liability language. However, in our current contract, we do have mutual indemnification clauses. So there is coverage from a liability perspective. I don't want the board to, I want that to be understood. As regards the, I don't know, I take direction from the board as to how they would like to see this contract modified.
Okay. Any further from board members? Supervisor Owen?
Have we shopped around to see if there's anybody that would be more, that would have better rates?
As I previously stated, we're going out to bid.
Okay.
At this point, we'll go ahead and open it up to the public. Do we have anyone in the room? Seeing none. Anyone online, Johanna? No hands. We'll bring it back to the board for possible action.
I have a question before there's a motion.
Yes, go ahead.
Are there any, just discussion on the Exhibit B portion, changes to 6.2? Because the way it reads in the beginning, under compensation, contractor has been selected by county to provide the services described here unto, the county shall compensate contractor for services rendered in accordance with the provisions set forth in Exhibit B. Exhibit B states limitations on a per fiscal year, which I know in speaking with Director Jones, that she doesn't want that to be in future contracts because it does create potential issues and not flexibility of the total maximum. Do we want to delete 6.2 or do we want to add $10 million to 25-26? Because it doesn't make sense to have that there and for it to not show any numbers if we're actually putting in the number that is being requested of us.
Mr. Chair, I apologize. I've just been notified by staff that the contract that is in Granicus is not the updated one. So I think at this time, unfortunately, I must withdraw this item and bring it back. I apologize.
You mean like the original?
No, all of the originals, the amendment is not the most updated draft. We had taken it, as you recall, we brought it before, had to bring it back. Apparently, I apologize, but staff did not, they failed to upload the updated correct version.
So we haven't seen that document.
Okay. Well, I respectfully request to bring this item back. I apologize for wasting the board's time.
Okay, County Council, do you want to weigh in on that?
That's fine. That's up to the discretion of your board because what's been uploaded is not the most updated version. Your board can.
I think in light of that, I'd be in favor of continuing until such time you can get us that document.
I apologize. Thank you.
Okay. So, yeah, we already opened to the public on that, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, didn't we? No. Okay. All right, so we will continue this item to a future date unknown at this time. Thank you. All right, I'm going to move to our 7.5 item, which is consideration of the following advisory board appointments. The Building Board of Appeals, the Cobb Municipal Advisory Council, CAC, the East Region Town Hall, Earth, the Lake County Ag Advisory Committee, the Vector Control District Board of Trustees, and the Western Region Town Hall, Worth. And I think we don't have a staff presentation on this, so we can discuss it between ourselves. Do we have anybody have anything to say about any of this? Is your pen still up for this, Supervisor? No, okay. Not seeing any comments from board members, so we go ahead and open it up to the public. Do we have anyone in the room that wishes to speak on this item? Seeing none, do we have anybody online, Johanna? No hands online. We'll bring it back to the board for action on these 6 boards and committees. Do we want to take them one by one?
Yeah.
So let's start with the Building Board of Appeals. Supervisor Pyska.
Yeah, Mr. Chair, I move that we approve for the Building Board of Appeals. We have 5 vacancies and 5 applicants: Paul Blues, Jeff Foster, Autumn Lancaster, Roberta McIntyre, and Patrick Reitz.
Thank you. We have a motion. Do we have a second? Or do we have comment here?
I just have a comment. There's 3 from District 5, 1 from District 1, and 1 I'm suspecting from District 4. I didn't look at Chief Wright's
He would be District 4.
application. I'm okay with 2 from District 5, but I'd like to leave it open for District 3 and District 2 to get a applicant in.
It's fine with me. We've struggled to have, these are all professionals. Some of them are fire marshals themselves. So it's fine with me. It's just, this has been historically a difficult board to fill and historically doesn't actually meet that often either.
So you're
Only on
proposing,
appeals. Do you want to keep vacancies?
Or please allow us to replace if there is a District 3 or District 2 applicant that comes in.
That's fine.
Okay. That way we can do all 5 to help out with quorum, but leaving it open for that. Okay.
okay, so we have a motion
My second still stands, yeah.
and we have a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Hearing none, motion carries 5-0. Cobb Municipal Advisory Council.
Mr. Chair, I would like to reappoint Darlene Warner to the Cobb Area Council.
We have a motion. Do we have a second? Second. Motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none, motion carries. And Supervisor Crandall, you want to do East Region?
Yes, for the East Region, I have 2 vacancies, one for the Clear Lake Oaks Property Association and 1 member at large. For the Clear Lake Oaks Property Association, I'd like to appoint Donna Mackwitz, and then for the member at large, Lori Correa.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 5-0. Lake County Ag Advisory Committee.
Mr. Chair, we have 7 vacancies, but we have 3 applicants who have already been serving, so we'll reappoint Bruce Merrilees, Pat Scully, and Sharon Zoller.
I'll second that.
So we have a motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none, motion carries 5-0. Vector Control District Board of Directors.
We have 3 vacancies. Robert and 3 applicants, Robert Bostock, Francis Lincoln, and Ronald Nagy.
You're motioning to,
Oh, yes. I move that we appoint those 3.
do we have a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none, motion carries 5-0. Back to Supervisor Crandall for the Western Region Town Hall.
Oh, there we go. Let me see here. We got 3 vacancies, 1 member at large, public member of Nice, and a member for Blue Lakes. And so for Blue Lakes, I would like to appoint David Eby. And then for the Nice member, Timothy Chiara.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries 5-0. And I believe that concludes that item, and we are going to do our supervisor reports. Who wants to start?
Go for it.
You want me to start? I'll start.
I said I'll go for it.
Oh, okay, sorry. I thought you were saying go for it.
Unless you want to go, Chair.
No, go ahead.
I do want to thank the collaboration that had to occur last night all the way through, 1, 2, 3 o'clock in the morning. Got some massive torrential rain. And unfortunately, there's a lot of infiltration that occurs within the sewer system. And so both in the Lower Lake area as well as in the Clear Lake area, there were a lot of complications. We had pumper trucks from out of county that were brought in and trying to keep it to a minimum. It is unfortunate that there were some spills, but again, minimized by the hard work and the collaboration between the City of Clear Lake, special districts, environmental health, and others who were involved, including admin as well, keeping us posted and letting us know. So just want to share my appreciation. These weather events are not easy ones to handle, and it does require all hands on deck, and just wanted to share my appreciation before I forgot that. Tomorrow, I start off my day with a wonderful positive. I will be going over to Hope Center, where when they have their guests that are leaving to move into a new home, they have what's called a key ceremony. And tomorrow, George, who I've gotten to know very well, will be moving out and moving forward with his life, leaving open a new bed for someone else to go into Hope Center for the life-changing experience they offer. So that's exciting for me to start my day off that way. Have some COC Housing Navigator meeting later on. And also we'll be having a discussion with admin and our tax collector. We had talked about coming back with a low value ordinance, and I'm having those conversations, already had the conversation with the City of Clear Lake and the tax collector, and now bringing that conversation back to the county to see what their thoughts are on the potential solutions that we've put together. Starting the day off on Thursday with Judge's Breakfast, where the city manager of the City of Clear Lake will be doing some presentations. Pick count, I will be cutting my pick count meeting short so I can make it to the new Maternal and Child Adolescent Health Committee meeting. And really need to try to figure out how to make it to the Fire Safe Council. So I might just be only able to make it at the latter portions of those. But since the RCD has been quite helpful with the Redbud Fire Safe Council formation, I'd love to go to their meetings so I can keep learning more and support them in the work that they do as well. have a health steering committee meeting happening on Thursday, and which is weird. I thought that would be on a Wednesday, but then a COC monthly meeting, our general meeting at the end of the day on Thursday. Meeting with our Lake County feeding group on Friday morning, and then talking Potter Valley project on Friday with our state representative. And I thought I had a memorial I was going to, but it's not on here. Then just getting ready for our meeting on Monday. We'll see what Monday looks like. Supervisor Crandall.
Oh, yeah.
We'll figure that out.
Figure that one out, yeah.
Ellen's going to go last, or one of you two ready?
Oh, I'll go. I was supposed to be flying to Washington, D.C. tonight, or going down to catch an early flight tomorrow morning. But due to the cancellation of the White House Council's meeting to unveil their FEMA recommendations, the fly-in got canceled. They've been rescheduled for more meetings in the spring. So my calendar is a little bit light, but filling up very quickly. Thursday, Space Committee meeting, Fire Safe Council meeting. I have a constituent meeting, resilient communities, and then I will not be able to make the Rotary high school meetings because I've got the Recreation JPA meeting in that evening. And then I'm guessing that our feeding partners meeting is gonna go away. I don't know. So, yep, I'm just catching up on things, I guess. And then Monday meeting with CAO Parker, and then back on Tuesday.
All right. So tomorrow I have my East Region Town Hall, CSA number 2 in Spring Valley. And Thursday I'm looking to set a couple meetings with some departments possible, but I need that day to do so. The 9th we have the Potter Valley Potter Valley Project pre-meeting. And let's see. On Monday, I do have Central Region Town Hall, but I'll just mention it just in case. I know that there's a meeting down south, and it has to do with the USDA and a possible meeting to talk about the Potter Valley project and talk about what can happen with the whole situation, and especially with the administration current right now, the executive administration. So I know Supervisor Sabatier and myself are contemplating going. We don't know a lot of the details. We just heard about it. Was given information, but so we're gonna have to iron that out and see if it's something that we can go to. Yeah, it's very, very last minute, but it might be beneficial. It might be something that we just can't do. But I think that it's a good opportunity to help with the plight of our situation with Potter Valley Project.
Thank you. I'll go ahead and go. The past couple weeks when we were off, I had First Five Commission, some point and time count meetings, the Blue Ribbon Committee meeting, community Christmas projects. I went to the Farm Bureau meeting with Congressman Thompson and a meeting with the Veterans Museum. Today I'll go to the Lakeport City Council meeting. And then I have a follow-up meeting Wednesday on post-holiday events in Lakeport. Have a Space Committee meeting Thursday. Also the Pit Count weekly meeting Thursday. The COC meeting. And then on Thursday I have a meeting with the Lakeport Mayor. Friday meeting with Lakeport City Manager. And this weekend I'll attend the Historical Society quarterly lectures that they do. And also over the weekend, I plan to attend the Big Lake, Big Science film that's premiering again. And that's it. We'll go to Supervisor Owen.
Okay. Well, if we get off in time tonight, I have the Central Park meeting. They've run into some issues with some tax taxes, and so I'm going to be going to that meeting tonight. I also need to, I was trying to get out there yesterday, wasn't able to make it. My day was pretty busy, and I need to check the Hidden Valley levee for the deterioration that's been going on there. The Morgan Valley road slide, the Lower Lake sewer issues. I spoke with, I know I'd emailed Trevor. I think he put out a warning on those issues there in Cache Creek. And let me see, I have on Thursday, I have the Lake County Recreation Association meeting. And this weekend, I'm hoping to make one or both of the rodeos up in Corning and Red Bluff. We have District 1 and District 2 all rodeoing together up in that area. So I'd like to make those this weekend. Thank you.
Thank you. And it is currently 11:51. We're going to take a lunch break for 1 hour. So we'll be back at 12:51. And we will, at that point, we'll open up in open session and read the closed items and then go into closed session. So that's all that's remaining in our meeting is closed session. Thank you. So we're in recess now. All right, we're going to call our meeting back to order, and I'll read off our closed session items. Item 8.1, public employee appointment pursuant to Government Code Section 54957, subsection B. That's interviews for Animal Care and Control Director and appointment of Animal Care and Control Director. Item 8.2, a conference with labor negotiator. Conference with labor negotiator A, chief negotiator Susan Parker, county negotiators Stephen Carter, Casey Moreno, Pam Samick, and Diana Rico, and B, employee organizations LCSEA. And item 8.3 is a public employee evaluation for the community development director. And with that, we will go into closed session. So we're returning from our closed session. Is there anything to report out of closed session?
Yes, there is action.
Go ahead.
Mr. Chair, I move to appoint Rachel Smith as Animal Care and Control Director effective February 9th, 2026 at step 2.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Anybody opposed? Hearing none, motion carries 5-0. And that concludes our meeting for today. Thank you.